In 2024, we are seeing so much prophecy fulfilling before our eyes. When we look around the world and we see all of the things that are happening, we all come to the conclusion that study prophecy that things are escalating at a very, very fast rate. You know, in scripture, Jesus gave us, many things that would happen leading to his return. Some of the warnings he gave was that certain things would happen in the heavens or in the skies as we look up. And as we're drawing into October at the moment, we're seeing so many different signs happening. What I wanted to do was to show you some of these. I came across one guy who really compacts it into all of the different signs that are happening and some of the significance that these events have in terms of biblical prophecy. When we see these things correlating, we know that we're drawing very, very near. What I'll ask you to do is to watch this in full to get the full context, but also smash the like button so that someone who does not know Christ may come to the understanding of who Christ truly is. But in terms of the signs and what these mean, have a listen to this for yourself.
On October 9th, 2024, Revelation will once again be in the stars, but this time with the 4 horsemen from Revelation chapter 6. There are also more things in the stars on this day from Revelation chapter 4 and chapter 12. Take a look at this short summary from the channel Blow the Shofar on what will be in the skies on October 9th.
Now that we have explored all of the parts of the sign, let's put it all together. Behold Jupiter, one like unto the Son of Man, and looking like a sardine stone, stands still in a half hour of silence in the heavens at the golden gateway of the ecliptic, and knocks. He is in the presence of the 7 candlesticks of the 7 sisters, who are in turn in conjunction with Uranus, meaning heaven. He then enters into the east gate and exits by the same. Then, behold the 4 horsemen, beginning with the white horse with a crown, to whom was given a moon shaped like a bow. And then the black horse, upon whom sat Venus with a pair of scales, a light shining in a dark place, or on a dark horse. They are then followed by the red horse of Mars, to whom was given a great sword, and his Gemini twin, the pale horse of Apollyon, 5 months later, who together sit above a unicorn, which could be thought of as a horse with a great sword. Next comes Saturn, a symbol of Babylon the Great, who, with its rings like a giant millstone, is thrown into a sea of water, poured from a bowl of wrath into the sky. All of this while a meteor shower coming from Draco the red dragon, whose tail spans a third of the sky, and who casts stars to the earth as a nation is born in a day. He stands with a crown of 7 stars on his head in the presence of Virgo. Finally, the sun rises like a bridegroom holding the hand of the Virgo, clothed in fine linen, bright and pure, at 6:40 a.m. in Jerusalem on the 9th of October. Every heavenly body visible to the naked eye is used in symbolically meaningful ways to paint a picture in the stars that is described in the book of Revelation thousands of years in advance. It would be challenging to design such an alignment by hand, and yet here it is.
Check out their entire video in the description. This is not even me date setting anything, and it just so happens to be that on October 9th, we have what was written in Revelation in the stars. We know that God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." God made the stars for signs, seasons, and for the days and years. So we are not looking at these stars as something to worship, but rather to be at watch, just to keep watch to see what season we're in the sense of the end and last days. Jesus Christ said himself, even in Luke chapter 21, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth a distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." This year alone, we've had many signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and especially a distress of nations with the wars in the Middle East. April 8th, we had a solar eclipse that made a giant X over the United States. This past week on the Feast of Trumpets was a Ring of Fire annular eclipse. On August 19th was a rare super blue moon. On September 17th was a rare super harvest blood moon eclipse that won't appear again until 2042. Earth currently has 2 moons right now for the next 50 days or so. And recently on October 3rd, the sun had its biggest solar flare since 2017. As you see right here, sun releases strong solar flare, peaking at around October 3rd, 8 a.m. So yeah, this is again a sign in the sun. And I mentioned signs in the moon with the past eclipses. Also on October 17th, we have a thing called a super hunter's moon. I actually never heard of a hunter's moon before, but I mean, this is going to be the largest full super moon of this year. And then we have many more celestial events in October 2024, which you could pause the video and read what we have coming up on October 8th to 9th, and then so on and so forth. So as you see, when we keep watch, as Jesus Christ instructed us to do, we're going to see all these different signs in the moon, sun, and stars. And Jesus said, when these things come to pass, pass, look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Even further in Luke chapter 21, Jesus says, but take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighted down with carousing and drunkenness and cares of this life, and that day come on you unexpectedly, for it will come as a snare on all those who dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch therefore, and pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. This is important because the fact that 7 years ago we have the Revelation 12 sign, and then 7 years later in 2024 we have more signs from the book of Revelation, could this mean something? What does this new Revelation sign in the stars mean? You know, especially with it being 7 years after the Revelation 12 sign.
You know, for me, I look at this with a sense of anticipation and excitement, but also there's a part of me that's, you know, fearful for family or friends that may not be saved, but know and to tell them people that now is the time that Christ is there. We do not have to wait till things get to its worst, that he can be found now. You know, the promise that he gave us, that through Christ, that we can have a life and life with more abundancy through him. But in terms of the prophetic, we're seeing it happening at such a fast rate. You know, even conversations I'm having with family members and uncles at a wedding, it's almost, we can feel that it's almost about to explode. It's the only words that we can use. But you know, we're still in that period of time, that bit of grace that we have left to get the gospel out. Yes, we're seeing all the signs in the skies, and that scripture would tell us would happen. We're seeing obviously the physical side of things on earth, where things just are looking out of control in Europe and America, just all types of events, weather and natural disaster. Now, knowing me, I've told you before, you know, man has its own hand in some of these things that are happening, but I believe that a lot of these are signs of judgment from God. What we have to be doing is to be preparing people. And you know, there's many of us on YouTube and many different platforms that would class themselves as watchmen. We just look at the signs and get them out to you. Go to scripture as your main source. Never believe what you've been told at not just face value, not as someone's trying to deceive you, but always just go to scripture as the main source when you hear someone talking. What I would say, know that Christ can be found today. To anyone listening who does not know Christ and is worried about the things that are happening around the world, it's not just a coincidence what's happening. Know that people have been saying it for many years, and they'll say that for thousands of years. And in other videos I've covered that we're lucky enough to be that generation that's seen some major signs that could only happen now, and we know we're drawing close. But remember, regardless of all the chaos that's going on in the world, God's always in control, and keep the faith.